You see, life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. And sometimes it's the storms that teach us who we really are. I stand before you not as someone who has had a perfect journey, but as someone who has been broken, who has fallen, and who has risen stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever. Becoming the best version of yourself doesn't start with perfection, it starts with pain. It starts with the moments you think you can't go on, but you do. It starts with accepting your scars, embracing your flaws, and realizing that you are not here to be ordinary, you are here to be extraordinary. You are not meant to fit into the mold that the world tries to place you in. You are meant to break that mold with your resilience, with your kindness, with your dreams. Because becoming the best version of yourself is not a destination, it's a decision. A decision to rise every time life tries to pull you down. A decision to stop waiting for someone to save you and instead become your own hero. So today, I want you to look within, not at who you were, not even at who you are, but at who you are becoming. And I promise you, the best version of you is not only possible, it's waiting for you on the other side of courage. We live in a world where we are constantly told who we should be, how we should look, how we should speak, what we should do to be accepted, to be loved, to be considered enough. From a very young age, we are handed a script written by others, by society, by expectations, by fear, and somewhere along the way, we begin to believe that our worth depends on how well we perform according to that script. We start chasing perfection, not realizing that the pursuit of someone else's version of perfection is what keeps us away from becoming the best version of ourselves. The truth is, you can never become your best self by trying to be someone else. You can't bloom in someone else's soil. You cannot shine while hiding behind masks that were never yours to wear. Becoming the best version of yourself begins the moment you choose authenticity over approval, growth over comfort, truth over pretense. It begins when you stop running from your reflection and start embracing the person. You are not the idealized version in your mind, but the real one with all the flaws, fears, dreams, and fire. People often think that becoming better means becoming perfect, but that is the biggest lie we're ever told. Becoming better means becoming real. It means unlearning the lies you've believed about yourself for years. It means sitting in silence with your wounds and asking, "What did you come here to teach me?" It means allowing yourself to feel, to fall, to fail, and still believe that you are worthy of love and purpose. Because you are, not when you have it all together, not when you're finally successful, but now, as you are. I remember a time in my own life when I was surrounded by darkness, and the world I knew shattered into pieces. I had two choices, to surrender to that darkness or to create my own light, and that is the choice we all have. No one else can walk your path for you. No one else can rise for you. You must be the one to decide that your past will not define your future, that your scars will not be your shame, but your strength, that your story will not be a tragedy, but a triumph. And that journey, it won't look the same for everyone. For some, it starts in silence. For others, in chaos. Sometimes it begins when we are broken so deeply that the only way forward is through the cracks, and in those cracks, light seeps in, wisdom seeps in. A new self begins to take shape, one that is not held together by the expectations of others, but by the truth you finally learn to speak to yourself. You start letting go of what no longer serves you, the fear, the guilt, the need for validation. And you start holding on to what truly matters: integrity, passion, purpose, peace. We are all evolving. We are all works in progress. There is no fixed version of you waiting at the finish line. You are not a project to be completed. You are a soul to be nurtured. And that means every mistake, every misstep, every moment of doubt, it all counts. It all adds to the masterpiece that you are becoming. You begin to see that failure is not the opposite of growth, it is the path to growth. That pain is not a punishment, it is a portal. That setbacks are not signals to stop, but signs that you are being stretched into a stronger version of you. You stop seeking success as the world defines it and start creating a life that feels like home. You begin showing up not as a version of yourself curated for acceptance, but as your raw, imperfect, courageous self. You start speaking from the heart, not for applause, but for connection. You start living with purpose, not for achievement, but for alignment. You begin to realize that becoming the best version of yourself was never about becoming someone new. It was about coming home to who you've always been underneath the fear, the pressure, the noise. We often wait for the right moment to change, for the perfect time to start over, for the ideal conditions to take the first step. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. Life is never going to pause and clear the path for you. It's messy, unpredictable, and beautifully chaotic. Growth doesn't wait for an invitation, it demands a decision. A decision to rise even when you feel weak. A decision to try even when the outcome is uncertain. A decision to believe in yourself even when the world gives you every reason not to. Becoming the best version of yourself means no longer waiting for someone to rescue you. It means becoming your own reason to fight, your own source of strength, your own light in the darkness. There will be days when you feel like you're walking through life with broken wings. Days when the weight of your past, your fears, your insecurities feels heavier than you can carry. On those days, remember this: even broken wings can fly if you have the courage to try. Strength is not about how loudly you speak or how confidently you move through the world. Real strength is in choosing to show up when everything in you wants to give up. It's in smiling through tears, forgiving when it hurts, and holding on when everything around you is falling apart. That strength, quiet, steady, and real, is what will carry you forward when motivation fades and obstacles rise. The journey to becoming your best self is not a straight road. It's not a clean line from pain to peace. It's filled with detours, delays, and dead ends. You will make mistakes. You will outgrow people and places. You will lose things you thought you couldn't live without. But in every loss there is a lesson. In every ending, a new beginning. You are not who you were a year ago. You are not who you were yesterday. With every challenge you have evolved. You have learned to survive, to adapt, to rise. That is growth, not loud, not always visible, but transformative in ways the world may never fully understand. Sometimes people around you will not recognize the changes you're making. They may try to pull you back into the version of yourself they were comfortable with. But remember, you don't owe anyone the old you. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to move differently, speak differently, dream differently. Becoming your best self means letting go of who you were so you can become who you are meant to be. It means having the courage to disappoint others if it means being true to yourself. It means choosing growth even when it costs you comfort. You don't become the best version of yourself in the spotlight. You become it in the shadows, in the moments when no one is watching, when you face your fears in silence, when you keep going without applause. It happens in your choices, the small, daily, difficult choices. Choosing to forgive, choosing to heal, choosing to show up with kindness when you've been hurt, choosing to keep your heart open even after it's been broken. These choices, repeated over time, shape you into someone stronger, wiser, more compassionate. Someone who doesn't just survive life, but lives it with intention and grace. There will be moments when your mind whispers doubts louder than your dreams. Moments when your inner critic screams louder than your courage. But even then, you must hold on to the voice within you that still believes, the one that knows you are made for more, the one that knows your story is not over. That quiet inner voice is your truest guide. Listen to it, honor it, protect it, because the world will try to drown it out with noise, with opinions, with criticism, with fear. But if you keep listening, that voice will lead you home. It will lead you to the version of yourself that is bold, beautiful, and fully alive. Healing is not linear. Growth is not always pretty. Sometimes you will feel like you're going backward. Sometimes you will feel stuck. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. It means you're in the process. And the process is where the magic happens, not in the result, but in the resilience, not in the destination, but in the becoming. And through that process, you begin to realize that your power was never in being perfect, it was in being real. It was in waking up each day, facing your fears, and choosing again and again to become the person you know. Deep down, you are capable of being. There is a moment in every person's life when the mirror becomes more than just a reflection of the outside. It becomes a confrontation with the inside. And in that moment, you are forced to ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching, when there is no audience, no validation, no applause? Who am I beyond the roles I play and the masks I wear? The journey to becoming the best version of yourself begins when you start asking the hard questions and stop running from the uncomfortable truths. It is in that raw, unfiltered space where growth truly begins to unfold. We are taught from a young age to hide the parts of ourselves that don't look pretty, that don't fit in, that feel too heavy to carry. We learn to silence our pain, to suppress our anger, to shrink our dreams so they don't make others uncomfortable. But the truth is, you cannot heal what you refuse to face. You cannot transform what you keep in the dark. The best version of you is not found in denial, it's born in acceptance. In accepting your whole self, not just the good, but the broken, the bruised, the forgotten. Those parts are not your shame, they are your power. They are the pieces of your story that give your strength its depth, and your voice its meaning. So many of us live our lives trying to meet expectations that were never ours to begin with. We measure our worth by the standards of a world that doesn't know our hearts, our battles, our silent prayers. We chase after approval like it's the key to fulfillment, only to find ourselves more lost than before. But there comes a time when you must stop looking outside for what can only be found within. You must reclaim your identity from the hands of others and start defining yourself on your own terms. You are not here to be a copy. You are here to be an original, to take up space, to speak your truth, to walk your path with courage even when it scares you. This journey is not about becoming someone new. It is about unbecoming everything you were never meant to be. The roles you played to keep the peace, the silence you wore like armor, the smile you forced to hide the tears, the version of yourself that made others comfortable but left you empty. You must be willing to let go of the life you've outgrown, even if it means standing alone for a while. Growth can be lonely, but it's in that sacred solitude that you discover your voice, your power, your purpose. It is there, in the stillness, that you begin to feel the whispers of the person you were always meant to become. You will not become your best self by avoiding discomfort. True transformation lives in discomfort. It is the stretching of your limits, the facing of your fears, the shedding of your old skin. It hurts. It confuses you, it tests your faith, but it also awakens you. It opens your eyes to who you really are when the noise fades and the pressure lifts. It invites you to love yourself not in spite of your scars, but because of them. Because they tell the story of how you survived, how you rose, how you endured when life gave you every reason to break. People may not understand your journey, and that's okay. They don't need to. Your growth is not a performance. It is a promise to yourself that you will no longer live a life that isn't aligned with your truth. You will no longer keep quiet just to be liked. You will no longer dim your light to make others feel comfortable. You were not born to blend in. You were born to shine. And that shine, it doesn't come from perfection, it comes from authenticity. From walking through fire and still choosing to keep your heart open. From knowing your worth even when no one else sees it. There will be moments when the weight of change feels too heavy, when old habits pull you back, when fear tells you it's safer to stay small. In those moments, remind yourself that nothing changes if nothing changes. Remind yourself that growth is not supposed to feel safe. It's supposed to feel real, and real means messy, unpredictable, and beautifully unfinished. But it is in that mess that you will find your magic. The kind of magic that can't be bought, taught, or faked. The kind of magic that only comes when you choose again and again to rise, to evolve, to become. There is a power that comes with realizing that your life is your responsibility. Not in a way that blames you for the things that happen to you, but in a way that reminds you that what you do with your pain, your past, your story, that is yours to decide. The moment you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to live fully is the moment you begin to reclaim your life. The best version of yourself is not born from perfect circumstances or ideal beginning. It is born from struggle, from heartbreak, from being knocked down again and again, and still choosing to get back up with more fire in your soul. You become unstoppable, not when you have it all figured out, but when you decide that no matter what happens, you will not give up on yourself. You will not abandon yourself. You will not keep betraying your own heart just to fit into someone else's expectations. Because becoming the best version of yourself is not about doing more, being more, achieving more. It's about being true. Being honest with yourself about what you want, what you need, what you believe in. It's about creating a life that feels meaningful, even if it doesn't look perfect to the outside world. Especially then, we are so often taught that strength looks like having everything under control. That it looks like never crying, never failing, never breaking. But real strength looks like the woman who rebuilds after loss. The man who asks for help when he's drowning in silence. The child who speaks their truth even when their voice shakes. Strength is not the absence of vulnerability, it is born through it. It's having the courage to keep your heart soft in a world that tries to harden it. It's allowing yourself to feel fully, to hurt deeply, to love fiercely. That is the kind of strength that changes lives when you begin to walk the path of becoming your best self. You will face resistance not just from the world, but from within. There will be an old version of you that tries to hold you back. The version that believes you're not enough, that you're too damaged, too late, too broken. That voice may sound familiar because you've heard it for years, but now you have a choice. You can either keep listening to the voice of fear or start listening to the voice of truth. The one that whispers that your past does not disqualify you, that your pain has prepared you, that your journey still holds purpose. There is no timeline for transformation. You do not need to rush. You do not need to compete. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to learn the lesson your soul came here to learn. Some people bloom early, some bloom late, but the most important thing is that you bloom at all. That you grow through the seasons, through the darkness, through the uncertainty. That you trust that even when everything feels unclear, you are still moving forward in ways that matter. That your healing is happening. Even when it feels invisible, you cannot become your best self by skipping the hard parts. The discomfort, the heartbreak, the confusion, it all shapes you. It deepens your compassion. It refines your vision. It humbles you and strengthens you. Every experience you've lived has contributed something to the person you are becoming. Nothing is wasted. Not the tears, not the failures, not the lonely nights. They've all carved into you a strength that's unshakable, a wisdom that's hard, earned, a beauty that runs deep. You don't need to wait for a better time, a better version of yourself, a better opportunity to start living with intention. This moment is the beginning. This breath is enough. The decision to rise is made not in grand gestures, but in small, quiet choices every day. Choosing to get up when it's easier to stay down. Choosing to speak up when silence feels safer. Choosing to believe in yourself even when the evidence isn't there yet. These choices are the foundation of the life you are building. A life that reflects not perfection, but presence. Not performance, but purpose. You are not meant to be a prisoner of your past. You are meant to be the author of your future, and that future begins the moment you realize that you already have everything you need inside you. The courage, the resilience, the grace, it's all there. Waiting to be awakened, waiting to be claimed, waiting for you to stop doubting your power and start owning it. So here you are not defined by what you've lost, but by how you've risen. Not limited by where you've been, but empowered by where you choose to go next. You have walked through storms, carried invisible burdens, battled doubts no one else could see, and yet you are still here, still standing, still breathing, still becoming. Becoming the best version of yourself is not about a final destination where everything is perfect and nothing hurts. It is about honoring your journey. It's about falling in love with the process of growth, of healing, of rediscovering who you are every single day. It's about giving yourself permission to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. You are not here to merely exist. You are here to shine, to lead with kindness, to walk in courage, to be unapologetically you. Because when you become the best version of yourself, you don't just change your own life, you inspire others to do the same. You give permission to everyone around you to believe in their worth, to reclaim their power, to begin again. So don't wait. Don't hold back. Don't shrink to fit a world that doesn't see your value. Stand tall in your truth. Speak with intention, live with heart, and remember the best version of you isn't found in the mirror. It's found in your choices, in your resilience, in your ability to rise with love, again and again, no matter what life brings. Because you were never meant to be ordinary. You were born to be remarkable.